morning, everybody. My name is Morgan. This is my shop, Slick Side Repair, and that's my Jeep. Let's jump right in. We got some miles on the old girl now, but as you can see, it's not looking good. We got some friends out here too making some noise. Found a little bit of water in the top of that concrete block, but we drove this thing out to my folks's and back, so we probably got about 50, 60 miles on it. And when we got home, I started looking underneath, and it was like, holy smokes. Might be easier to call the things that aren't leaking, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna put it up on the lift in the shop, and I'm guessing that we're gonna have to pull that transmission and transfer case out of there, which is not ideal because this is Sunday and next Friday we're leaving to go camping, and I wanted to take this with. And I was gonna build a tow bar. I found this piece of one out at the ranch, and I was gonna put it back together, put it on the front so I could tow it behind my camper. But right now the leaks are more important, so we better mess with that. Let's see what we can get done. Well, everything is very, very juicy under here. We've got oil here, all over up in here, coming out the bell housing up high. Pretty sure we got oil leaking out of that pinion right there. I know I've got oil leaking out of those two rods. And I think I've got oil leaking out of the pinion back here. But I don't think it's the rear main on the engine. Just because I'm pretty sure it's gear oil and not engine oil. Sure feels like it. Kind of smells like 80-90 weight. But right now what I need to do is I need to drop it back down, take the floor pan out of it, and get ready to drop this transmission out of here. I can do this seal, this rear seal. I don't know if I'll need to do that one or not, or if it's all just running back. I need to do the seal up in there. I think that's what needs to be done though. I might leave the bell housing attached and take it loose here and there. That don't look too bad. I don't know, that top bolt might be kind of hard to get to, but it's got to come out of there. It's the only way I'm going to be able to fix it. And hopefully I can get seals this next week and put it back together tomorrow or the next day, but let's get after it. Well, I got it out of there, and it is nasty. Just filthy in this bell housing. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I don't like how that hole just looks open. I'm not exactly sure what that's for. I don't see, oh, there's a lot of slack there. I wonder if it seals around that back in there. That does not seem good. That last gear does not seem very good either. It's pretty well chewed off on both sides. I think it's leaking from this output seal and these. So I've got a lot of seals to replace, but check this out. The clutch is all fairly dry. And there's a little bit of oil on this, but even, see if I can get you, the rear main does not seem like it's leaking to me, which is good. It shouldn't with the new engine. But I didn't mess the clutch up any, which also tells me it's got to be coming from the transmission side. Like I said, that pinion seal is leaking as well. So I think I need to start breaking this down and determine what is causing this problem right here. Oh yeah, side note, some of you guys are gonna flip out on me for this, but I cut both of those off with the cutoff wheel. I was tired of fighting it, trying to get it out of there. I think this pin is supposed to be removable. I pulled the set screw out here, but I think it's seized in there. So I got tired of fighting it. I cut them off. I can weld them back on there. Not a big deal. Get that pin out down here instead of up in the Jeep. So I got the cone off of there, and this was the seal that was behind it. This guy was actually sitting in there like this. Piece of rubber towards the back. Nothing in here. This other hole I was worried about goes to nowhere, so it's not a concern. But this seal was not doing what it was supposed to. More evidence that it was running out through here is all this is just completely saturated in oil. So I think that was my culprit, my oil leak. So now I think I need to get this whole works on the bench probably, start breaking the bell housing down off of it, and I need to decide if I want to bust it loose from the transfer case and do something with this gear. I think I probably need to while I'm here. That lower one is pretty tore up as well. So I'm gonna need a couple gears and a seal for there at least, and another seal here, maybe one back here. We'll do some more looking around and see what we can find. Got the transmission pulled off the transfer case. Looks like I should have opened up the back and undid the main shaft. I think that's the main shaft, I'm not real sure, but undone it from the transfer case, and then it wouldn't have pulled out of the transmission. But it's leaned up in here draining. There's these guys here. There's 3 of these that are all broken. They all come out of these grooves right here. I'm not real sure what that does, but they're all busted. So I'm gonna have to find that part, this gear, and that lower gear in there. That guy right there, it's all wore off too. But I'm gonna undo the back off of here, get that pulled out, and take a look inside the transfer case while I'm here. Okay, I got it pulled out of there. That was fairly simple. You just pull a nut off of here, cotter pin and a nut, shaft pulls out, put it back in here, just to kind of hold it all together. I'm not actually sure if this is facing the right direction. It might need to go the other way. But after seeing kind of what was going on in there, that made me remember that out at the ranch, I had another transmission and transfer case. It, who knows the story on it? Who knows if any of it is any good? Looks a little more military to me than the other one, but still T90-A. It's got one lever on it that hasn't been cut off, but it's not, it's quite a bit longer, so I'm probably just gonna end up fixing mine. But another good yoke here. I'm interested to see, I guess they have an updated version of this that has a seal in the back instead of the felt. I want to pull this off, and we'll pull the top cover off, take a look in here and see what's going on. So far, this one looks to be in way better shape. Those are nice and round, no problems there. All this feels pretty good. We'll pull this cover off and take a look at it. Still has the crappy old felt seal in it, and this cone housing is broke where that pivot ball would sit. There's that other one there but if you put it in that one, then the drain hole would be up at the top, and that wouldn't work. I've seen a little bit like maybe they put sealed bearings in there and then different housing, and that kind of keeps the leaks stopped. But I think this is probably going to be the transmission that I want out of the two. So I'm going to take it loose from this transfer case, and I think I will run my transfer case just because I wouldn't have to switch all that stuff over. There's really no huge advantage or disadvantage, but I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just put this transmission on my transfer case. I am gonna need to get this housing and a seal for there on my other one, some gaskets or some RTV. So this is probably gonna be a little bit, and I'll bring you guys back and we'll see what we can come up with. Something I've noticed about this guy, there's 2 threaded plugs in here, and then kind of frost plugs in the back. This one doesn't have any plugs in there. It looks like it's leaking oil right there, so that's not any good. But a little bit different shifter, a little bit different bend. Mine's threaded. I think I might just leave this one with it, and I'll thread that end so I can put my shifter knob back on there. But I like how these are threaded. Maybe, I don't know, maybe mine's missing those plugs, but it doesn't look like it. So I think I'm gonna run this one. I like it better. And it went with that transmission anyways, so let's pull it off of that transfer case. Oh, it's been a day of screwing around. Long story. This is my new old transmission here. I made a mistake when I pulled it out, and I let this shaft go this way with the transfer case. I pulled it apart here, and I got to learn how to put that back together. And as far as I know, it's all right. A bunch of needle bearings fell out from the middle of there, and I ended up setting this on its nose with that shaft down through a hole on the bench, and that's how I put it back together. Not too big a deal, but I went ahead and power washed my bell housing. Got this cleaned up pretty good. Power washed the transfer case. It's not bad. There's a little bit of old hard grease, but for the most part it's good. This all looks really nice on the inside. Power washed the cross member. I pulled the cover off of both of them and decided to go with this one because this cover's reinforced all the way around. Must be a military thing. Same transfer case, it's just reinforced, and it's got better plugs in it. So I also put a new U-joint in the rear driveline front joint, and then I got to looking at these drive lines, and both of them were cocked off. They weren't clocked correctly, so that probably was making a vibration I didn't even know about. But I put them back together so they're clocked correctly. I pulled the rear pinion seal out. Got the numbers off of it. Got the numbers for these shaft seals here. I should be able to get all of those through Napa. And the only thing that I can't get through Napa, and I could probably get maybe that old felt seal and go back that way, but I can't get that new updated cone. If I had more time, I would probably spin one of the cones on the lathe and I would put my own seal in, but I don't know which seal they're using. I'm just gonna try to get that thing overnighted. Got the seal picked out for this output shaft here too. So everything is kind of ready to go back together. I know it looks like a huge mess, but everything's at least clean. I used my new pressure washer to actually do this, and you guys should see that in a short video, but I just got this. You buy these through Northern Tool or off of Amazon through Northern Tool, and it's got an on-demand propane hot water heater on the side. It's not quite as hot as a big commercial one, but still does 150 degrees. And so far, I've been very happy with it. Runs off of gasoline and 2D batteries for the igniter. So you don't have to plug it in. You could take it out in the sticks with you and pressure wash something, whatever. But anyways, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this weekend and this evening. Until I get more parts, then I will not be able to put anything back together. Unfortunately, this will hold me up for a while. So I'm hoping I can leave the Jeep there until I'm ready to go back together, but we'll see. One seal came in, rear pinion seal. Napa had it on hand, 15788. Got me some Right Stuff silicone. Glue this back on. I'm going to use that to glue the transmission back onto the T-case as well. The cone. Kaiser Willys was back ordered on the cones with the lip seal in it. I would like to have turned mine down and put one in there. Looking at it now, there's not a whole lot of extra meat there. I don't know if I could have done that or not. I ended up going out and finding this bearing, and as a sealed bearing, I'm gonna put that in here, and then you glue this hole shut with RTV, and you even silicone the bearing in the hole, and that's how they're running them. I will probably put the felt seal back behind here again. Must be on with that other tranny in the back of the truck. It was in better shape than the one I had, so one I have is right here. It's not very good, but that's what we're gonna do. So clean some more of this stuff up and then I'll bring you back. All right, everybody. I'm kind of embarrassed to say how long it took me to get the transmission bolted up to the transfer case. Oh, I siliconed it 3 times, I think, because it kept wanting to dry out before I could get it actually stabbed. Everything is doing what it's supposed to now, though. I've got plugs cleaned up and tape. Got the ball off the other transfer case on there because it's not wore out on the side like this one is. I'll show you what I was fighting. It took me a long time to figure it out. But it was that guy right there. This ring pops into that groove, and that slides up to retain it. And if it's not slid up, it won't go in to this groove or this notch here. If it's slid down too far, it'll hit, up too far, it'll hit. So it's kind of got to be right in the perfect spot. And I kept trying to clamp it down, and there was a gap. And I'm glad I didn't force it because I didn't break an ear off the transmission or anything. But finally got it. That's how some of that stuff goes. I pulled the bearing off the outside snap ring here. The bearing. That new sealed one will come tomorrow. Silicone that hole shut. And then you can put the nose cone back on, bell housing back on. We're gonna be rolling here. So I think tomorrow evening I should be good to be putting this back together. I've got that seal coming, those coming tomorrow. I'm not gonna pull either of those until I know I got the right ones, just because I don't want to fight that headache. But we're looking pretty good. So, oh, I guess something else I did last night is I welded my levers back up from where I cut them. I won't put them back on until the transfer case is in there. Then I'll thread them up through the hole, drive this pin back in. That pin was stuck, hence why I cut them off. But we should be setting pretty good. Vent's clear, so I need to get this pickup pulled out of the shop with the other transmission parts that are in the way here. I need to back one in tonight and get transmission fluid draining on it so I don't have to fight a dripping pan on me tomorrow night. So I guess I better get after it. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow night. Got my bearing in. There's the part number for you guys if you're wondering. Sealed bearing. Got the snap ring on it. That guy will slide right on there. We can put that other clip back on and that'll be buttoned up. I've also got some seals in here. These little guys are for the shift shafts there, and then one of these is the output on the front, and the other one I'm not sure what's for. I don't remember what all I ordered, but I've got some other things I need to button up first before I can get back on the Jeep on this pickup and haul it off. So it'll still be sitting here when I get back, I guess. I've got the new seal behind here. Both these seals down in here, I used the slide hammer and a screw to get these little guys out. First I took this heavy duty pick, and I pounded a bunch of holes all the way around, just 4 on the last one. And then after I had those holes pounded in there, I threaded this slide hammer in, popped both those seals out. This one I had already pried out with a seal puller. Oh my gosh, here it is, right here. We got a hell of a mess going on. But that's all done. My hole's siliconed up. I was sitting here contemplating whether I wanted to install the bell housing and then install the tranny, and right here, now that I'm looking at it, I know that I want to put it back together just the way I took it apart. Bell housing hooked to all this. The reason for that is I still need to install the throwout bearing and the pivot fork, and that would be hard to fish in there with the transmission coming up and this already installed. If you get what I'm saying, it's probably possible, but I don't know if I want to fight it. So I need to get these tightened up on there and then roll it back on top of the jack, roll it under there, get ready to stab it back in the Jeep. See how it goes, and maybe we'll have her back together this evening. Don't forget to put your cross member back on. One bolt here, one there, one there. Throwout bearing, levers installed, springs on there. I think we're ready to go. I didn't quite like how that spring was hooked back behind there. Turns out it's supposed to go on the opposite side and hook through a hole there and then to there. And everything works like it's supposed to. So, glad I checked that before I put it in there. Now let's put it in the Jeep. It's the next day. I went ahead and dropped the cross member down. That gave me enough room to get that back in there. All my levers in there. They're where they're supposed to go. I got the set screw tightened down up there. We'll go ahead and lift that back up. And then I can do that bell housing bolt. Front drive line after that. We're chugging right along. Hit that guy with some grease. Be lubed up, ready to shift. Back on the inside of the Jeep, got the levers installed. They are working like they're supposed to. So that's nice. I got fluid in there. I just put straight 80-90 weight. I'm sure this had some weird old version of that you probably can't get anymore, and somebody would probably say that's not the right fluid for this, but I bet it's better than no fluid in there. So that's what we're gonna run. I am gonna put the top on this transmission. I need to thread the end of the shifter because it's not threaded. It must just have a ball jammed down on it. So I need to go out and look at that other shifter and see what size thread it has on it. Or maybe not. I guess I got the ball right here, so I can just run a die down or a tap down that, figure that out quick. Then it's time to put that top back on. I'm gonna silicone it down. Put the transmission cover back on, the boots, then the interior will be wrapped up. And I need to put the starter on out here still. Put it back on. It's just a couple bolts. That won't be too big a deal. And I got another carburetor in the mail from Amazon. So we'll see if it's got a giant vacuum leak around the shaft on it or not. Hopefully not, then I'll be set. Okay guys, I think it's all buttoned up. Now we get to test it, see if it works or not. I'll leave you guys out here so you can watch and see if the wheels spin. Pick it up off the ground a little. Give her a try. Well, something is definitely wrong. I'm hoping it's right where the shift tower goes on, because all I've got is reverse. Better take it apart and look. Let's try that. I don't think the fork was in the right spot. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's kind of got some vibration to it, but this yoke down in here, that one there, can you see it? It hits. It hits on the corners when the suspension's all the way down. So as soon as the weight's back on it, it doesn't hit. So I'm not worried about that. Let's put the floor pan back on for like the third try, because I forgot to do that bolt right there, that bell housing bolt that you cannot get without doing that. So let's put it back together, and I think I can test drive it. So good news and bad news. I think I cured several of the leaks. But when I got under here, there was something dripping right here. But all this is wet all the way up to here. That's been leaking. I got a leak kind of up here alongside the engine. So I don't know, we're gonna just continue to run it. I might try to tighten up some of these oil pan bolts, see if they'll move any. But I think I got the one with the transmission fixed here anyways. So that is good. I ended up knocking this linkage off inside of here on the e-brake with my screwing around trying to tighten up that bolt, but I just got it popped back on without having to pull that off there, so that's nice. But I think this thing's ready just for test drives now. Just keep putting the miles on it, work the kinks out. On a different note, between the two Amazon carburetors, this one and the other one that's on there, I finally got it to run pretty good. So I guess you better order two if you want to go that route and then send one back. But I appreciate you guys watching, sticking with me. Hope you're enjoying the Jeep videos, and we'll probably see you on the next one.